Chapter 2, LDAP, Concepts and Architecture. Overview of LDAP architecture, the informational model, LDIF, LDAP schema, the naming model, LDAP distinguished name syntax, DN, string form, URL form, functional model, query, referrals and continuation references, search filter syntax, compare, update operations, authentication operations, controls and extended operations, security model, directory security, no authentication, basic authentication, SASL, SSL and TLS, planning your directory, defining the directory content, defining directory requirements, data design, sources for data, characteristics of data elements, related data, organizing your directory, schema design, namespace design, naming style, securing directory entries, purpose, analysis of security requirements, design overview, authentication design, authorization design, non-directory security considerations, designing your server and network infrastructure, availability, scalability, and manageability requirements. Topology design, replication design, administration, IBM Tivoli Directory Server Overview and Installation. Chapter 4, definition of ITDS, ITDS 5.2, resources on ITDS, summary of ITDS, related chapters. Chapter 5, the ITDS installation and basic configuration, Windows. Installable components, installation and configuration checklist, system and software requirements, ITDS client, ITDS server including client, web administration tool, installing the server, creating a user ID for ITDS, installing ITDS with install shield graphical user interface, configuring the administration DN and password, configuring the database, adding a suffix, removing or reconfiguring a database, enabling and disabling the changelog, starting ITDS, Chapter 6, ITDS installation and basic configuration AIX, installable components, installation and configuration checklist, system and software requirements, ITDS client, ITDS server including client, web administration tool, installing the server, creating a user ID for ITDS, installing ITDS with install shield graphical user interface, configuring the administration DN and password, configuring the database, adding a suffix, removing or reconfiguring a database, enabling and disabling the changelog, starting ITDS, uninstalling ITDS, Chapter 7, ITDS installation and basic configuration on Intel Linux, installable components, installation and configuration checklist, system and software requirements, ITDS client, ITDS server including client, web administration tool, installing the server, creating a user ID for ITDS, installing ITDS with install shield graphical user interface, configuring the administrator DN and password, configuring the database, adding a suffix, removing or reconfiguring a database, enabling and disabling the changelog, starting ITDS, quick installation of ITDS 5.2 Intel minimal graphical user interface, uninstalling ITDS, removing all vestiges of an ITDS 5.2 install on Intel Linux. Chapter 8, IBM Tivoli Directory Server installation, IBM Z series, installing LDAP and Z/OS, using the LDAP CNF utility, running the MVS jobs, loading the schema, enabling native authentication, migrating in data to LDAP and Z/OS, migrating LDAP server contents to Z/OS, moving RISCF, use DDBM space, in-depth configuration and tuning. Chapter 9, IBM Tivoli Directory Server Distributed Administration, Web Administration Tool, Graphical User Interface. Starting the Web Administration Tool, logging on to the console as the console administrator, logging on to the console as the server administrator, logging on as a member of the administrative group or the LDAP user, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol user. Logging off the console, starting and stopping the server, using web administration, using the command line on Windows, services, icon, console layout, configuration only mode, minimum requirements for configuration only mode, starting LDAP and configuration only mode, verifying the servers in configuration only mode, setting up the console, managing the console, creating an administrative group, enabling and disabling the administrative group, adding members to the administrative group, modifying an administrative group member, removing a member from the administrative group, IBM SLAPD, command parameters, directory, administration daemon, the IBM DIDM command, starting the directory administration daemon, stopping the directory administration daemon error log, the IBM DERCTL command, manual installation of IBM WAS, Express, manually installing the web administration tool, manually uninstalling the web administration tool, default ports used by IBM WAS Express, installing in WebSphere version 5.0 or later, client tool, LDAP change PWD command, Synopsis, options, examples, SSL TLS nodes. Diagnostics, the LDAP delete command. Synopsis, description, options, examples, SSL TLS nodes, diagnostics, the LDAP AEX OFP command. Synopsis, description, options, LDAP modified LDAP DD commands. Synopsis, description, options, examples, SSL TLS nodes, diagnostics, the LDAP MODRADN command. Synopsis, description, options, examples, SSL TLS nodes, diagnostics, the LDAP search command. Synopsis, description, options, examples, SSL TLS nodes, diagnostics, summary. Chapter 11, schema management. What is a schema? Available schema files. Schema support, OID inheritance, modifying the schema, IBM attribute types, working with object classes, working with attributes, disallowed, schema changes, indexing, migrating the schema, exporting the schema, importing the schema, dynamic schema, group and role management, groups, static groups, dynamic groups, nested groups, hybrid groups, determining group membership, group object classes, group attribute types, roles, summary. Chapter 13, replication, general replication concepts, terminology, high replication functions, major replication topology, simple master replica topology, master folder replica topology, ITDS 5.2 or later, gateway replication topology, ITDS 5.2 or later, pair replication agreements, configuring replication topologies, simple master replica topology, using the command line, promoting a replica to pair master command line for complex replication, web administration tasks for managing replication, managing topology, modifying replication properties, creating replication schedules, managing queues, repairing replication differences between replicas, the LDAP DIFF command tool, access control, overview. ACL, entry owner, information, access control attribute, syntax, subject, pseudo DNS, object filter, rights, propagation, access evaluation, working with ACLSs. Summary, chapter 15, securing the directory, directory security, authentication, anonymous authentication, basic authentication, authentication using SASL, Kerberos, password policy enforcement, overview, password encryption, SSL TLS, support, overview of TLS, overview of SSL utilities, configuring SSL security, protection against DOS attacks, non-blocking sockets, extended operations for killing connections, emergency threat, connection reaping, allow, anonymous bind, access control. Summary, chapter 16, performing tuning, ITDS application components, ITDS LDAP caches, LDAP filter cache, bypass limits, LDAP entry cache, measuring filter and entry cache sizes, LDAP ACL cache, setting other LDAP cache configuration variables, LDAP attribute cache only 5.2 and later, configuring attribute caching, transaction and event notification, additional SLAPD and IBM SLAPD settings, tune the IBM directory server configuration file, suffixes, recycle the IBM directory server, verify, suffix order, DB2 tuning, warning, when IBM directory server is running, DB2 buffer pool tuning, LDAP BF buffer pool size, IBM default DDPB buffer pool size, setting buffer pool sizes, warnings about buffer pool memory usage, other DB2 configuration parameters, warning about min, commit, more DB2 configuration settings, configuration script, directory size, optimization and organization, optimization, reorg, CHK and reorg, indexes, distributing the database across multiple physical disks, creating file systems and directories on the target disks, backing up the existing database, perform the redirected restore on the database, DB2 backup and restore, concurrent updates on symmetric multiprocessor systems, AIX operating system tuning, enabling large files, tuning process, memories, level size limits, AIX specific processor size limits, AIX data segments, LDAP process DB2 connections, verifying process data segments usage, adding memory after installation, on solid systems, SDLAPD, OC handlers, available on Windows, IBM directory change and audit log, when to configure the LDAP change log, when to configure the LDAP audit log, hardware tuning, disk speed improvements, monitoring performance, LDAP search with CL monitor, Monitoring examples. Troubleshooting error files. Monitoring IBM directory server. Overview monitoring tools. Viewing server state. Viewing status of worker threads. Viewing connections information. Viewing other general information about the directory server. Analyzing changelog. Analyzing log files. Operating system commands. Monitoring ITDS summary. Part 4. Developing directory-enabled applications. Chapter 18. Debugging IBM directory server related issues. Overview. Debugging problems. Debugging configuration problems. Debugging directory server related errors. Using log files. Using server debug modes. DB2 error log file. Summary. Chapter 19. Developing C-based applications. Overview. Typical API usage. API flow when searching a directory. LDAP underscore init function. LDAP underscore bind as underscore simple function. LDAP search as function. LDAP first entry function. LDAP first attribute function. LDAP get values function. LDAP next attribute function. LDAP get values function. LDAP next entry function. LDAP unbind as function. Sample code to search the directory. API flow when updating a directory entry. LDAP then init function. LDAP simple bind as function. LDAP modify as function. LDAP unbind as function. Sample code to update the directory entry. Chapter 20. Developing GNDI based applications. The GNDI searching the directory, creating the directory context, performing the search, processing the search results, changing the directory entry, creating the directory context. Appendixes. Appendix A, DSML version 2, DSML version 2 introduction, DSML version 1.0, DSML version 2.0. Difference between DSML version 1 and DSML version 2. Difference between DSML version 2 and LDAP. Typical DSML transaction, DSML version 2. IBM implementation, ITDS to DSML version 2 support. IBM DSML version 2 put-up level security structure. IBM DSML LDAP operations. Bindings, DSML communication between ITDI and ITDS. ITDS DSML service deployment. Installation, configuration, execution, troubleshooting. Java programming examples on DSML, DN and DI introduction. Program examples, references to DSML official specifications. Appendix B, directory integration, IBM Tivoli Directory Integrator. Why directory integration is important? Directory integration services, user provisioning applications. Directory integration technologies, meta directories,